and a lush, vibrant forest, where the trees touched the sky and the river hummed with life, there lived two creatures who were known for their contrasting views, a wise old horse and a mischievous monkey. One sunny afternoon, as the forest bathed in the golden warmth of the sun, the horse and the monkey found themselves standing side by side near a vast field of grass. The horse, content and calm, gazed across the meadow, admiring the lush, green blades swaying gently in the breeze. "Ah, the grass is green," the horse said with a peaceful smile. "It's beautiful, the way it nourishes the earth and provides shade to the creatures of the forest." The monkey, however, was not so easily convinced. With a twitch of his tail and a mischievous gleam in his eyes, he shook his head. "No, no, no," the monkey said, hopping up and down on his feet. "The grass is blue. Look closely, it's not green at all." The horse, taken aback by the monkey's stubbornness, said patiently, "But it's clearly green, friend. How can you say it's blue?" The monkey's eyes sparkled with determination. "I know what I see, and I tell you, the grass is blue. You must be mistaken." The horse sighed, realizing that the monkey was not going to be swayed by reason. They argued for hours, with neither willing to yield. Their bickering grew louder, attracting the attention of the other animals in the forest. Finally, after much commotion, the wise old owl, who had seen many arguments and disputes in the forest, came down from his perch in a tall tree and spoke in his calm, measured voice. "This matter has gone on long enough. You two should take this disagreement to the king of the jungle, the lion. He is the most wise and just among us. He will know the truth." Both the horse and the monkey agreed, and they set off to the heart of the jungle, where the majestic lion, the king of all the creatures, ruled from his grand rocky throne. When they arrived, the king, a large, powerful lion with a golden mane that shimmered in the sunlight, greeted them with a low growl. "What brings you here, my friends? Why do you disturb the peace of my kingdom?" The monkey, quick to speak, said, "Your Majesty, I told the horse that the grass is blue, but he insists that it is green. We've argued for so long, and now we ask you to decide who is right." The king narrowed his eyes and let out a deep, thoughtful rumble. "I see," he said, his voice resonant and full of authority. "You seek my judgment to settle a disagreement over the color of grass. Very well, I shall give my decision." He paused, then turned to his guards, powerful elephants who stood near his throne. "Imprison the horse," the king commanded in a voice that echoed through the jungle. The horse, stunned and confused, stepped forward. "Your Majesty, do you also believe the grass is blue?" he asked, his voice filled with disbelief. The lion's eyes softened for a moment, but his tone remained firm. "No, the grass is green," the king replied without hesitation. "Then why would you imprison me if you know the grass is green?" the horse asked, perplexed. The king leaned down, his golden eyes meeting the horse's with a gentle but serious look. "I command your imprisonment," he said, "not because the grass is blue, but to teach you a valuable lesson. You see, you wasted your time arguing with one who is clearly ignorant of the truth. You tried to reason with someone who would not listen, and in doing so you both disturbed the peace and caused unnecessary strife." The horse's eyes widened as the meaning of the king's words began to sink in. The lion continued, "There are times when it is better to remain silent than to engage in fruitless arguments. When dealing with those who do not seek the truth, it is a waste of your energy to argue. You should instead focus on what is important, on wisdom, and on the harmony of the world around you." The horse bowed his head, humbled. He had not realized how much energy and time he had spent trying to change the mind of the stubborn monkey. It had led to nothing but frustration and disturbance. The monkey, who had been watching in silence, now stepped forward with a smirk. "I suppose I should be careful with whom I argue next," he said, clearly amused by the whole situation. The king turned his gaze toward the monkey. "As for you, little one, remember that wisdom comes from understanding, not from being clever or tricky. Sometimes the truth is simple and plain, and no amount of argument can change that. With that, the king gestured to the horse. You are free to go, but let this be a lesson to you both. Not every disagreement is worth fighting, and not every truth needs to be proven to those who will not see it. The horse nodded solemnly, grateful for the king's wisdom. The monkey, for once, had no response. He simply scampered away, leaving the horse and the king in peace. As the horse walked back through the forest, he reflected on the lesson he had just learned. Sometimes wisdom lay not in the victory of an argument, but in knowing when to walk away. And as for the monkey, well, the horse was certain that he would encounter many more such foolish disputes in his lifetime. Once upon a time, in a lush, green forest, a scorpion found himself standing at the edge of a wide river. The water shimmered under the sun, and the distant sounds of nature surrounded him. He longed to reach his family on the other side, but the river was too deep and swift for him to cross alone. As he paced along the bank, his gaze fell upon a frog basking on a lily pad, soaking in the warmth of the sun. The scorpion called out, "Mr. Frog, could you spare a moment?" The frog looked up, blinking slowly. "What do you want, Scorpion?" he replied cautiously. "I need your help," the scorpion said, his voice smooth and persuasive. "I must cross this river to get to my family. Will you let me ride on your back?" The frog's eyes narrowed and he shook his head. "I don't think so. You're a scorpion, and scorpions sting. What if you decide to sting me in the middle of the river?" The scorpion, feeling a bit frustrated, answered, "But think it through, Mr. Frog. If I sting you and kill you, I will drown as well. I have no desire to die." The frog hesitated, contemplating the scorpion's words. He was wise and had heard tales of the scorpion's treachery, but something in the scorpion's tone made him doubt. After a moment, he said, "All right, I'll help you, but I'll be watching you closely." Carefully, the frog allowed the scorpion to climb onto his back. With a deep breath, he leaped into the water, feeling the current tug at them. The scorpion clung tightly, grateful for the frog's help. As they moved further into the river, the frog focused on the rhythm of his strokes, while the scorpion took in the surroundings, the vibrant colors of the forest, the sound of birds singing, and the gentle splashes of water. But halfway across, the scorpion's instincts began to take over. The thrill of power surged through him, and in a moment of weakness, he stung the frog. The frog gasped, pain searing through him. "Why did you do that? I'm dying, and you're going to die too," he cried, panic rising in his voice as he began to sink. The scorpion felt a twinge of regret, but knew he couldn't take back his actions. "Because I am a scorpion," he said, his voice low and matter-of-fact. "It is in my nature to sting." As the frog struggled to stay afloat, he felt the weight of betrayal. "You could have lived too. Why let your nature control you?" he croaked, his voice growing weaker. In those final moments, the scorpion reflected on his actions, realizing that despite his reasoning, he had let his instincts dictate his fate. He looked at the frog, whose strength was fading, and for a brief moment he felt a flicker of remorse. But it was too late. As the frog sank beneath the surface, the scorpion felt the water closing in around him. He had not only doomed his companion, but himself as well. And so, in the depths of the river, the two creatures met their end, a poignant reminder of how one's nature can lead to inevitable consequences. The forest remained, filled with life and lessons, while the tale of the scorpion and the frog echoed through the trees, a story of trust, betrayal, and the tragic dance of fate.